Morning. This is Nita and Miss Panda with the Timepiece Garden, and she's taking off. You know, she's doing the panda thing. And I'm in garden 3 because I'm going to figure out what I need to do to make my reclaimed wood, etc. work here. Stuff that I'm not using to do the workshop and stuff that I will not use for a chicken coop. Does that make sense? So it's not limited, but it's certain things can go here, certain things will not. So that's what we're gonna start with today. Got a gorilla cart full of stuff. Getting ready to turn the music on, and we're just gonna kind of do that for a little while. I do have the soaker hose on, or the hose is on. We're supposed to get up to like 106 today. So you know, come out early, get some stuff done, get back in the house. So as you can tell, I still have wet ground from where I watered the peppers with the rainwater that caught in the barrels. But I want to go ahead and give everybody a 30-minute soak. Just a quick refresh, you know, because it's going to be hot. So in 30 minutes, I'll give everybody a quick drink before all this area gets into the sun. So having said that, yeah, I know I started here with the peppers. Just because that's the one that was on when I walked down here. I will actually start with the elderberries next. They get the next 30 minutes, and that way everybody gets their water before the sun gets to them. All right, having said that, let me go on and get started. And, well, I hear Panda in the shrubs. Anyway, she's over in the shrubs, I can hear her. All right, I'm gonna get started and I'll talk to y'all later. All righty. It's just gonna be a fun day all the way around. I woke up late, it happens. So I lost 2 hours worth of work. So yeah, I'm already in the sun. Yeah. And then of course I get out here and start looking around in my tripod there. The back leg had broke. It happens, they're wooden. I had one fiberglass pole left. I went ahead and stuck it in there. It's doing well now. The other 2 legs are still strong. I tested them. So it's back up, holding tomatoes. Life is awesome. Whew. And then started, again, working with the wood. And all you're going to see here is kind of layout, because I'm trying to see if it'll even work. What we're going to do is start at the log. And I've got these pieces here. These are thick enough and strong enough that I'll be able to attach those in to the log with like 2 deck screws. Puts them there, and then take a piece of wood, make like a panel. Does that make sense? And that way I can screw these 2 pieces of wood into it, and then start with these here. And that wood just kind of represents the panel. It's going to need to be wider than that to give it good support. And then you kind of go so far, and that's where the T-post is. The T-post gets banged into the ground, and that way that T-post holds, you know, 5 feet worth of space here as far as soil weight. And then it's the same thing. Put a panel piece here so I can attach these to it, and then there's the next T-post. And it does that all the way down, and it leaves me with a little gap, and I've got 3 pieces that are just the perfect size to go there without having to cut anything. Now this makes it so I can get it started, you know, get stuff screwed in, get it together, not have to cut anything yet. I didn't bring my tape measure out here, which was fine, because again, I'm just trying to see if this would work right now. I will need to tape measure how high I have this bed. I have it high enough so when it rains, does that make sense? The water doesn't splash out onto the walkway. The water sinks into the bed itself, which is kind of what I need to do on this side, is make sure that it's tall enough where the water stays in, it sinks in. I can add my little hugelkultur sticks, you know, here in the bottom. Whew, type stuff. You know, and then add the dirt after it's been amended. So, you know, I get a strip of really good stuff. I'm not worried about all of this stuff, mostly because long-term this is trees. This is the orchard area. But even with like the baby mulberries that I showed you that I've been finding, that row here that I've not even started, that's where the mulberries are going to go. 3 of them will get planted there. And it'll be a couple of years that they're going to stay small. They're not going to get huge their first year. So I will continue to have annual stuff growing in between them. By the time they get large enough like the elderberries, where I'm not planting anything in between them because they're too large, except for the comfreys that are there. They like that little bit of shade that the elderberry provide. you know, this wood will start falling apart. Won't make a difference then. You know, the wood can fall apart. The trees will be here. They'll be rooted well enough. Life is awesome. And then we look at you know, perennial shrubs in between them, not annuals. And hopefully by then I'll have the annual garden, that mess cleared. We'll see. One day at a time, right? All right, so let me go see if I've got what I've got for panel pieces, because this is, if you look, I go log to log, kind of end to end. These pieces all fit, which is awesome. I know I've got deck screws. I might just need to see if I have panel pieces, and not these skinny pieces. They should be at least twice that size, you know, for adequate support. I'm sure I do. I'm hoping I've got a bunch of stuff that I don't have to cut, because that way I can attach this and then go to the next step. The next step is I still have more of these spacer boards. I have a lot more spacer boards. This entire row is going to be done in spacer boards. Having said that, though, the next set I have are shorter. Let me grab one that's clean because I don't have my gloves on. All right. If you line it up at this end, they're shorter. So I'll have to stagger them. Still not a huge problem. I'll be able to screw it in at this end, and then I can attach it to the T-post, whether it be with a zip tie or whatever. And then the next piece will attach here, and it'll again get screwed into the post, and then attached to the T-post, zip ties or whatever. You know, I'll figure that portion out. It'll work. I have plenty of wood. I still have got all that in the cart, and there's more up in the shed. So I still have plenty of wood. And then as I tack the fabric down, all the wood pieces that I got laying around back here holding fabric down, etc., all those become part of this wall as well. So I have more than enough to do this entire bed. You know, get it high enough so I can get the soil in here. Yeah, I won't lie, I brought some seeds out. I had thought about planting, get my green beans, my fall green beans started, and there's some other stuff that you can, like turnips, radishes, some other stuff that you can plant right now, mid-July. And there's still plenty of time before it gets cold in zone 6 for them to go to fruition and actually get a fall harvest. I'm not doing it today. They're talking maybe 106. So most of it is just seeing what I can do with the wood. You know, do I have all the pieces? I won't be here tomorrow. I've got some other errands to do. And then, so it'll be Thursday before I can actually come up and start drilling as necessary. All right, having said that, y'all have an awesome day. I'm gonna go see if I got little panel pieces. Talk to you in a few. All right, went and got my measuring tape so I could measure stuff. So my ends here need to be about 10 inches long-ish. Roughly 5 spacer boards. Went ahead and got some wider pieces. Some of them are just kind of, what is it, a 1x6. Some of them are 2x6s. Put the 2x6s in the center where they're going to be supporting more weight. The 1x6s here at the end where they got the log as their backup support. You can kind of tell, you know, screw it in several places, it's all good. From there, the T-post. It goes 5 feet, 5 feet, 4 feet, 5 inches, 4 feet, 5 inches, 5 feet, 5 feet. So again, there's T-post, you know, to help hold in that center support, or help hold up the dirt support. And then here in the center, where I don't have a fat log to be screwing to, they're a little closer. All right, I think that's gonna work. Yeah, it's getting warm. I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna bang T-posts in today, since I've measured them, or not. Part of me says yes, just start banging T-posts in, and if I get too hot, then just stop. You know, stop when I'm done. So let me get busy, let me get started, and yeah, talk to you in a few minutes. All right, I'm done for today anyway. It's 89, and I'm getting aggravated, which means I'm done. Excuse me. So one, I didn't realize these little T-posts were aluminum, not steel, or very weak steel. They're not regular T-post strength. So having said that, this one bent. But it got almost all the way in. You can barely see. Oops, see, I'm standing. Can't see my own screen. Here we go. You can barely see the tip sticking out there. Does that make sense? But it went almost all the way in. And then it started to bend, so I figured I hit a rock, probably a large rock. I've moved that one 3 times. Can't get it in any farther than it is. And you can see it's not in. You know? Craziness. Say, originally, this one was actually that post. And it had gotten so bad that it had started to bend this one as well. I'll go from an angle so you can see it started to bend. So I've swapped it here for that one. And it's almost all the way in. But you can see where, you know, its little wings there are not in the ground either. Not sure why this area is crazy, but this one, so this one's almost in. That one is, it's just barely in there at all. Having said that, this side went in really well. So my skinnier boards here, where everything just becomes kind of off-center, those are going to end up moving in between these 2 racks. So they're the smaller boards, but they'll end up with the most amount of support when they get the dirt weight against them. These here, because they'll have the larger bars or the larger boards attached to the planks, that makes sense, will have more support even though the posts aren't all the way in. And without bending them, I can't put them in any farther. Is it possible I can go and buy some rebar and come back and you know, like pull this one out and put a piece of rebar in? The answer is yes. You know, it doesn't have to be today. Woo. But I'm aggravated. It's not T-post strength. And I tried to use my little T-post banger instead of a hammer. They bended, they warped, because they're not a good steel. They're like an aluminum. Otherwise, everything's working out fine. But I'm done for the day because, again, I started to get aggravated. So I'm going to need to go ahead and give these guys some water because they've not gotten any water yet. And just call it a day. Everybody else got some morning watering. And I'll come back, not tomorrow. I have other stuff to do tomorrow. I'll come back probably the day after that. You know, make it an early day. And start screwing stuff in. And then other thought process, since I have to compensate for these 2 not being all the way in the ground, I might spread my little spacers there, the little ones right there. Does that make sense? So there's one down there, that makes sense, and then one here, and then it'd be 3rd row up, one here, 4th row up, one here, 5th row up here. So does that make sense? It's still stronger at that end, ground level, than it is at this end, and this end is just the kind of splashback, the way the wood sticks up above the ground there. So I'm thinking, you know, again, that's why everything is staggered. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Having said that, if I do it that way, that also changes the spacer boards, though. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll play with it tomorrow. I'm hot. I'm a little aggravated because they didn't go in all the way. You know, it's Arkansas. I have rocks. Punks. All right. Let me get these babies some water so they can have a drink before we hit the 100. And go in the house and cool off. And get unangry. And I will talk at you later.